The Roxie was built in 1909. It went through about 5 or 6 name changes between 1909 and 1933. It's called the C.H. Brown, it was called the Poppy, it was called the Rex, a number of names. But in 1933, probably the major work was done, and that was the adding of the signs. And at that point, it became the Roxie and has been ever since. I think the first major changes to the building occurred around 1933, and that's when the signage was put up. Originally, the Nickelodeons had no marquees, they had no signage at all. They were just an indentation in, the building from the sidewalk. And if you go up in our booth, you can see some of the plaster work that was part of that indentation. The main auditorium, as far as I know, is pretty much the same as it was in 1909. We have changed the seats, we have worked on the interior, but basically the room, we've tried to preserve what little architectural details there are in the room. There's some, lighting and some sconce lighting have not been altered. We gave it a lot of thought about what kind of colors, and we decided to change the overall outlook, the overall color scheme from a kind of a burgundy to a blue. The burgundy basically came from the tiles, and I had these kind of strange ideas about following Egyptian motifs, shall we say, and looking at King Tut and some Egyptian jewelry, which was this thing called Egyptian blue and gold. But we did put on new blue tile with some gold strips. And then we were basically going to have the marquee signage, be themed off blue. In fact, the Roxie, I don't think it was called the Roxie until the signage was put up. Earlier this year, we restored all the neon and the signage and stripped the signs down to the metal. And we discovered underneath all that paint was the outline of letters that said DeVaux, D-E-V-A-U-X. So we Googled that, and we discovered that it was an automobile, a roadster, that was made in 1931 and 2. So that would fit in with the 1933 moving the sign to the Roxie. This sign would have been put up in 33, and it's basically a recycled sign. The neon restoration was done by a guy named Greg King, who studies theaters, and he had done the Del Rey and Santa Cruz and a bunch of other theaters in the Bay Area. So he really knew his craft, and he basically, with some assistance from other experts, was able to refurbish the sign in the way it probably looked back in the 30s and 40s. We have no way of knowing exactly how it looked because there are no photographs. But we were really happy to get the signage restored after all these years, and it really looks quite beautiful at night.